He was just with the group. His activity was minimal. We are just happy to have him back. I felt like I haven't seen him in a long time, and so it was good just to have him around.
What was the message to the group today after a tough game on Monday night?
A few things. Try to synthesize it. Life in the NBA is made up of respect and being able to play as many of the 48 minutes, as many of the 82 games, whether you're the Golden State Warriors or the Philadelphia 76ers, as you can. We're not going to, click our heels and decide to play. And I think that the two losses that most resonate with me are at Sacramento after 5-game win streak, to have what I think is the best win of the year against Detroit Pistons, and then come in and we didn't show the respect that we need to show. And some of that is born out of complete maturity. Some of it is born out of the realization that we're human beings and you can let down your guard. And the less times that we do that, the better off we're going to be. That the reality of teams that make playoffs, none of us would be surprised to see somebody at 42-40 make the playoffs. Well, that might mean, if that's us, we could lose 30 more times. And, how are we going to react? And it all needs to point to, your record's going to be your record. It's the snapshot of really who you are. It does all balance out. Playing sort of revisionist history, we could have, should have, it's not that. I've learned that over my years. And so it all equals, just have great days. Let's have a great day. And they will add up. I promise you, they will all add up. And you're going to beat somebody maybe you shouldn't have, and at times you're going to lose to people you shouldn't have, but it all adds up if you bang out great days. And I see the world like that. It's easy to look at them and say that, and it's easy for me to repeat what I said to them to you now. That, to me, is the message that most resonates with me.
Brett, Joel's performance against the Lakers last time, not exactly something you just copy easily, but what can you guys do for him to have the same success? Maybe not as many points, but to be as successful.
Well, you'd be really shocked if they do what they did again. And so we're not game planning for that at all. Like, I expect you're going to see, maybe some larger defenders on him in single coverage opportunities. And I certainly expect them to double team him when that's not happening. And at times, even when, somebody like Bogut is on him for, 46 reasons? Is that what he ended up with? Was it 46?
Yeah, a lot of reasons.
In the last period was just very, singular on my aspect of let's just get him the ball. We were on the same play 10 times in a row, and we did. And he delivered. And so I don't think that. We talk about like the spacing behind it, what are his outlets going to be, anticipating that they're going to front him, coming from high-lows and, organizing the gym that way. I think that's more where my mind is, as opposed to thinking we're going to be able to repeat what happened in Los Angeles.
Brett, what happened to Dario today?
He got whacked in the eye. His left eye, I think he had 3 stitches. I think after that we'll be okay.
Do you expect he'll be able to play tomorrow through it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
On the subject of Joe's post-ups, I've noticed that, it's usually when you talk about that, you mean entering the ball from the wing. But you guys have been throwing it from the top of the key and been having some success with that.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning behind that?
If you judge the ways that Joe gets the ball, like, can you cross screen him, just block to block and get him on the move? Can you slash screen him, bring him from high to low? Can you just dump it into him, just walk him down and dump him into it? Can you do the same thing on the backside? Can you let him have false motion on one side of the floor, then bam, like you swing it and you come back in over on the second side of the floor? And so, at times the hardest bit is when you just plunk him in there and say, go to work, big fella. A little bit less is the duck in, and then getting him on the move, getting him where he can negotiate a screen and helping him, deliver him to a floor spot interests me the most. That thing that you're talking about is anticipation of people fronting him and working people, on that backside, coming from top down. We have a play that we run that, people have seen it. It's a Tim Duncan thing where we, run some action and then bam, like duck him in on that second side. I mean, I'm so lucky to have gone through what I did with Timming. I am just, it is calculus post stuff, like really advanced stuff that for 12 years and, many playoff series, that's what you did. And I lived the same world. Like, why is the game going so fast? We're shooting too many threes. Joe needs a touch. Well, now Joe gets it. Now, Joe, you got to quarterback the gym. And I thought one of the stats that was great for him the last game is he came out of it with no turnovers. And, for us, that is massive as we try to improve that area.
Since Markel was in the building, have you started thinking about incorporating him into the offense? How Ben's role as a primary playmaker going to change?
I haven't.
Brett, how did TJ look up there?
He didn't do too much. He shot on the other court. He ran around. We really missed him the other night. We really missed him. I think that we all walk away with Booker doing this and TJ, and it's all true. But as I look at the tape, Tyler Ulis was hard to guard, and it's one of the dynamics of the starting group we have. It's a challenge, as I said to everybody, who guards point guards? Who guards point guards? And there's not a clear answer there. And so the other night, without TJ, like it would have helped him being on the floor. And you look at Tyson Chandler, what he did the other night. Those two stood out to me. I feel, to your question, that TJ is still uncertain, but I do realize, especially when you don't have somebody, what they mean to the fabric of a team and the defensive flexibility we have.
Brett, you've talked in the past about your .5 rule where guys have half a second to shoot it, pass it, or dribble it. Where did that originate from, and what impact do you think that has on your program and your players?
We talked, my experience was, overseas for so many years. And I think the foreign teams were unbelievable. The old Serbian teams, and in the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, like you just went back with Vlade and that group, there was a unbelievable hot potato popcorn mentality they have where they either shot it, dribbled it, or passed it quick. And, all of us started talking about quick decision. And, years ago, my first, few years with Pop, we ended up talking about, you got a half second to make a decision. You got a half second. And then it became 0.5 because of the half second. For me, it was driven out of, my foreign days and the Olympic days in '96, especially with that Serbian team. And, it's hard to guard. I still think it's the hardest thing to go from, like a long closeout, say somebody from the paint out to the perimeter, to guard somebody on that 0.5 mentality, and even a short closeout, which my verbiage means they aren't. Maybe they have 1 foot in the paint and they're in a shift and now they go. That thing where you play catch-go or go-catch game and the ball doesn't always catch you. You catch the ball and now you're playing downhill with either a scrape of somebody's face or a sweep of the floor, not through a strike zone in the middle. And so we work all the time on either you're going to scrape somebody's face or you're going to sweep it below their waist and stay out of a strike zone. And we lift it. We have guys with medicine balls, practicing that action on 0.5. But it was born out of that. Quick decisions, you get a half a second that was shrunk to, I guess a half a second is 0.5.